What's up, guys? Welcome back to Founders Club. I'm Alex Lagos, and today we have former Division I athlete Darryll Stinson. He joins us to share how high achievers can lose their identity to their career and the steps to find their true purpose. From navigating a career-ending back surgery and severe depression to understanding the power of innate gifts, Darryll unpacks the reality of tying self-worth to performance. He explains why taking a walk to freedom is more sustainable than waiting for a sudden breakthrough, and why you might just need to watch The Matrix to step out of a life you weren't meant to live. Let's get into it.
Darryll, thanks very much for joining me on this episode.
Dude, I'm excited that you're having me. I'm really honored. I just love your energy, your smile, your demeanor. And I know just based off what I heard from other people about you and Founders Club and what you guys do, that, man, this is getting ready to be a rich conversation.
Dude, the feeling's mutual, right? Like, I love meeting new people. You and I are ones where we have a network that significantly overlaps, right? Mm-hmm. We have a lot of mutual friends, a lot of mutual clients that we've worked with. And so I've been really looking forward to this conversation. And I love the fact that having the conversation, that we get to do it in this format, to be able to learn from each other, but also to be able to share as well. Like, as you were growing up, you went through this journey through athletics, which really like defined your, I would say, like, early character. But if you back up even before that, like as a child, like, what were the key memories for you growing up that you feel like were shaping the man that you are today?
Yeah. One was, there was this sense of struggle always happening around me. It was like my mom was always stressed out about money. My grandma was always like taking care of way too many people. It was like always caregiving for everybody because people just didn't have enough. So like some of my core memories is just literally like being evicted, having to live with grandma and a bunch of us staying at her house. I always remember she always was worshiping and she always was giving. Like, she didn't meet a stranger. It didn't matter if you were the boyfriend that she didn't like, that came over the house, or you were the friend of the friend who she hated. She was like, she'd make your meal just the same. Yeah. So I have a lot of core memories of my grandma just caretaking, not just for our immediate family, but from a lot of the friends that came over who was on the free lunch programs and things like that too. Mm-hmm. And that just shaped me, man. It taught me about, like, I felt like, I don't know who I heard say this before, but I didn't know I was broke until I met somebody that was wealthy. And it was like, we were always happy. We weren't, sad. We weren't depressed. I didn't know that we were struggling in poverty until I got around some friends that had, heat.
Yeah, you're 100% right? Because, like, growing up as a child, like, you don't know what you don't know. All you know is what your family does on holidays. All you know is what Christmas morning looks like for your family if you celebrate Christmas. And so, I think I had a somewhat similar experience. I wouldn't describe, like, our family as, like, we grew up poor, we grew up rich. I knew that, like, we had a roof over our head, and I know that we ate. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know that, like, I had an understanding as I was growing up of even, like, the comparisons until later. Like, I have 2 daughters now. I'm so excited this weekend. I'm going to take Faye to go see Monster Trucks at Bridgestone. Okay. And, she and I drove down to Alabama. We went to, like, an Elmo concert because she's just, like, Elmo obsessed right now. And I think of these things as, like, concert tickets and events and experiences that I didn't do growing up. So, I think a part of it is, like, me living out my childhood now through those built experiences with my kids. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say that, like, growing up in my childhood, I felt like I was missing anything out because of the statement that I made at the beginning of this of, like, I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. So, you make the comment of, like, you didn't know until you started seeing, like, with the friends. How did that make you feel? Mm-hmm. And, how did you manage through that?
Yeah, man, I gotta go back. So I think originally it made me question everything. It was like a paradigm buster. It was like, okay, I go to this friend's house and it's okay if I just go into the pantry. you know, because you know, for stay out the fridge, get out the, you know, because we don't have enough. You know, they didn't say that, but that's why. And then you go over to the friend's house, and it's like, oh, what do you want? What do you need? Just go in there, and then you're like opening and like, I can have as many as I want. Am I being bad? So I think there was a lot of it was just like
it's like the small signal.
It was.
Yeah.
It was just, I was like, is this okay? It was confusion. Like, why is this okay? Is it okay? I didn't feel safe for it to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have the language at the time to say it that way. So I think I just felt uncomfortable as a kid being experienced in some of that. And ultimately you just start to feel like you're not that. Like that is for wealthy people who have money, and we are not them. We come from this. This is who we are. Yeah. So a lot of my early experience of even getting exposed to that, it just created a massive separation, saying like, hey, I am not the person that deserves this, can have this. Our family is not the type of people that has these types of things. We are struggling people, and the only thing we got going for us is athletics. It's kind of my paradigm at the time.
You just brought me straight back. You know, something that I realized is my friends' houses were 68-degree air-conditioned houses. We were a 72 family. But that I always remember going to their houses in the middle of the summer, and I'm just like, oh, it's cool in here. It's cool in here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you have that outlet, athletics. I think for me in my teenage years, like I went into building online, right? Which has then driven me into this career of continuing to build online. But as a teenager, like I can't even believe it. Like I had a blog that had 1 million visitors per month built organically back before you could actually monetize that stuff.
Oh, snaps. What was the blog on?
It was, I mean, I was a teenager at the time. It was a Game Boy blog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a Game Boy blog. And I remember one year, Nintendo had reached out. Golan Harris was Nintendo's public relations agency at the time. They had reached out to try to set up a meeting to meet up at E3, which is the annual like video game conference. And I remember responding saying that I had other engagements and like couldn't meet there. And the truth was, you know, I was 16. You had to be 18 to even get a pass for the conference.
Oh, wow.
So even though I would have qualified for a media publication pass, you know, it's funny because like now I know, like, you know, you could just go and meet at the hotel or meet at the conference. Like you don't even have to go in the event, you know, they all have conference rooms, but it was just, that was the world that I was navigating, and I didn't know what I didn't know.
Wow.
So for you, like, tell me about like that outlet that led to a D1, you know, football career at Central Michigan University. Like what was a path like to be able to get there, and to be able to like set a goal?
Yeah. Well, number one, you got to remember, like, sports for me was a big point of pain before it ever became like a dream. You know, I was highly uncoordinated growing up. My grandma used to make fun of me because she said I ran slow motion because I had like 2 left feet. She used to be like, make fun of me like, yeah, he's running slow motion. So it was like not the thing I wanted to do. But as my athleticism caught up and I started to realize that, you know, because I was an emotional guy and because I was different than my peers or than a lot of the street people in my school system, you know, I would get teased and made fun of a lot, you know, for being a black kid that talks and acts white, for having this big gap in my teeth. And so when my athleticism started to catch up with my height and I became better and better at sports, I noticed that people liked me more and they didn't care how I talked, if it was white or black. They didn't care if I said something cool.
Yeah, points on the board.
I got points on the board. And literally in our school, they used to, the girls used to grade the guys, and this report card would get passed around school. If you were handsome, you got an A. And if you were ugly, you got like a D. And
how did this get passed around?
It was like the girls would pass around secretly. The guys would try to get it from the girls. It was a big thing, try to steal it. So then the guys would do the girls. But the girls was the ones who really held the power, right? And
Pre-internet.
Oh, yeah. It was bad. Okay. It was called like a Myery. It was like a diary about men, right? Yeah. And so they would rank. And so I stole, the boys stole the diary from the girls. And I looked at next to my name, and there was a D and an E, and somebody thought it was funny to put a Z next to my name. And so when my athleticism started to catch up my height, fast forward, so that was in like 6th grade. So fast forward to 8th grade. Now I'm like the first one to dunk in our class, right? And they're all talking about me, right? Like they're saying, hey, I'm going to be on varsity as a freshman. Well, that same report card gets passed around. We snatch it. Well, now I got A pluses and you know what I'm saying? The girl that gave me a Z, I'm like a B now. And I'm like, I don't look no different.
Yeah.
I have, you see something in me.
Yeah.
And so it fed that place in me. So I start there because that's where was like the genesis moment of like, I want to do this forever.
Yeah.
Not because I love it, but because I get love when I do it.
Yeah.
And when you have something like that is your only source of love, you pour everything into it because there is no separation from it and you. And so it was me. And so I just poured everything into it. And I said, the more I get better at this, the more love I get. And so I'm talking everything, late nights, early mornings, sleeping in cars, figuring it out, all the extra time in the gym in order to earn that full ride scholarship, ultimately to play football and basketball at Central Michigan University.
It's such a powerful lesson early on, too, to learn early in life that there are things that you cannot control. And the things that you cannot control, when you stress out about them, when you get anxious about them, when you stay up late at night with insomnia about those things, they are just that, out of your control.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And when you can redirect and reframe to the things that are in control and then pour your energy, your passion, your heart towards those things, you might stay up with sleepless nights, but it's because you're inspired.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And like that's a completely different energy.
It is.
So, you had a chance throughout your career to be able to play with like future NFL players, right? Antonio Brown, Eric Fisher.
Yep.
Like, tell me what that experience was like, because there's like JV skill and culture.
Yeah.
Right. There's high school varsity skill and culture, and that's different depending on what school you're at and whether you're a feeder. And then there's like the elite.
Yep.
And like, how was that forming, and what type of impression did that leave on you?
So good. Number one, the ultimate high performer was my father. My father was the person, he never met a obstacle. I told Rory the other day, I was like, he was the first, I think it was Marie Forleo said, everything is figure outable. My dad was the original figure outable guy. Like, he didn't know any problems. So he was 6'2" safety in the early or late 80s.
Whoa.
And he ran a 4.3. 40. So he was big, fast, and a free safety. And so I came behind him and I already knew what greatness was like because he was great. So then I get around like Antonio Brown as an example, and that dude's work ethic still to this day is one of the top 2 or 3 out of any human I ever met. While we were watching sports, like we'd be sitting around watching football games on a Saturday or whatever, he's doing ladder drills between on every commercial. So here we are sitting, drinking beer, doing dumb stuff, and then commercial comes on. He's like, just never stopped. And so you wonder why he had one of the quickest twitches in the game of football was because he always was training himself to be quick twitch. The other thing is it wasn't actually Eric Fisher, who I felt was the best offensive lineman from our team. It was a guy by the name of Jake Olson.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay, Jake Olson taught me about like how your anatomy just. It's the ultimate cheat code, right? Like some things you just are born with, right? There's hard work, there's grit, there's mindset, but there is old fashioned, my arms are longer than yours, my legs are longer than yours. Jake Olson was a freak of nature. His arms were like freaking octopus arms. His legs were like long and these big, the things didn't move out of the ground. Yeah. And so if he got his arms inside your shoulder pads, you were not going anywhere. It don't matter if you kick, scream, got a pistol, you ain't getting out of that grip. Whereas Eric Fisher, you could kind of finesse him a bit. You can push him back a little bit. Jake gets you, you're not moving. Jake had multiple knee surgery, so he didn't stay healthy. But it taught me about the power of just being born with innate talent, having the innate gift of your anatomy. And so, from an elite standpoint, I do think that there is some leaders are born aspect to things that people don't say enough about. You know, they talk about the 10,000 hours that you need to become an expert. Well, I think that 10,000 hours might be 2,000 hours for somebody who was born with a more natural gift, as an example. And so you just I see it even in my own children. I don't know if you see it in yours, but like you can see their natural gifts already at a young age, and they're already like high levels of proficiency in some areas.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just think it's really about noticing that in our lives and nurturing that. And you put the 10,000 hours towards what you're innately already gifted and created to do. And that's where that multiplier effect happens.
100%. And you're talking about, like, in this instance, you know, whether it's height, whether it's like wingspan of your arms, like, and that innate talent transfers to things inside and outside of athletics, right? Like, you might find that you are better at memorizing things than somebody else.
Yes.
There are going to be things where that skill will be useful.
Yes.
You might find that, you know, being able to write fiction is something that kind of comes to you naturally.
Yes.
And, you know, it was the class that you crushed it in college without thinking about.
Yes.
And like, that might be your advantage.
Yes.
And, you know, you're right. So I have 2 daughters. They're 3 and 6 right now. So it's really early on. They're in that phase right now where they will build more neural connections in their brain right now and over the next few years than the rest of their life, because it slows down after that. And Lily, who's 6, has always kind of just like banged the piano.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's always going to be their choice what they want to do, whether it's dance, whether it's sports, whether it's music, what instrument, all of that. But I said, you know, hey, like, if I wanted to nurture this, how could I nurture this? And, you know, right now, what's the #1 song in animated movie? It's K-pop Demon Hunters.
Is it really?
Yeah, hands down K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay. Right? You got kids all over like singing the song Golden.
Okay.
And I printed out the easy sheet music for it. And I stuck it on our piano, and I played with one hand, and she played back like 3 lines of the song by memory.
I believe it.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, those can be the things if you can see it early on.
Yes.
And so, you know, for somebody who's listening to this, I 100% agree with you. Like, my main takeaway from what you just said is everybody has those skills and advantages.
Yes.
But are you listening to this? Are you watching this on YouTube right now? Are you watching the clip of this? And you're thinking, what was the thing that came naturally to you that your friends were surprised about?
Yes.
Like, what was the thing that your friends struggled with where they said, you know, it's really not fair how easy you're making that look?
Yes.
And if you can turn that into a passion, a career, a hobby, like, I think you're right. I think you can shortcut the 10,000 hours down because of an inclination.
Totally.
Versus, like, you got me. I think at my peak, I was at like 160, not all muscle. I'm not going in football, right? Like, I got a body that's built for, like, what's the person at the front of the rowboat when you're rowing? The guy with the microphone, the coxswain, like that. That's what I got the body for.
You'd be a kicker.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, while you were playing, you got injured. Right? You ruptured a disc in your back.
Yep.
How did that happen? What type of headspace did that put you into? And, you know, there's kind of this twist here where you signed a legal document about it too.
Yeah, man. I freshman year, so, you know, never forget, coach looks at me and Antonio Brown. He's like, it's not a matter of if you're going to go to the league. It's a matter of when. I was a true freshman. Antonio Brown was a sophomore at the time. 2 years later, Antonio Brown goes into the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, I'm rushed to the hospital room having surgery. I was doing workouts. We were doing 10 sets of 10, whatever the workout was. And I was doing band squats. And then I was supposed to only do band squats, but I wanted to prove how strong I was and get off of like this injury leave watch, because I had some back issues throughout high school, but nothing like too severe, but they wanted to just protect me.
Yep.
And so I went and I did heavy, regular, normal squats. I wanted to show that I can lift just with the, you know, upperclassmen, and I wasn't like a younger classman, like I was there to play.
Yeah.
And I came up the wrong way, pinched the nerve, slipped the disc. And because I was trying to be tough guy, I then went after that and did band squats again. This was the one that did it, I think, because then I had already slipped it, and then I did these bands, and then I like came up again, and I could feel it. It was such a sharp pain. I felt it through every cell of my body. And because I didn't know the difference between being hurt and being injured, I played on that for about 6 months, to the point to where my left leg, the pinched nerve in my back, was causing atrophy in my left leg, that by the time I got an MRI and the doctor saw me, I had to have emergency surgery. He was booked, Steve Stripling from Saginaw, shout out to him, was booked for 6 months. And he came in on a weekend and did my surgery.
Wow.
Because he said, you weren't going to make it too many more days without losing your leg.
Wow.
So he does the surgery, and he says, man, you got, coaches are like, you got a golden opportunity. We value your leadership, so we're going to honor your scholarship. So you get 4 years of a free paid education because you can use your red shirt. And then you still get to come around football whenever you want. But remember, I told you I was getting love from it. I was getting acceptance from it. So, it wasn't just what I did. It was who I was.
You built your entire identity
My
around
entire identity was around it.
your social circle, your...
Please. I'm like, please. And then it was like the only thing that I was a really smart kid, but I hadn't applied myself since like 5th grade. And so, I was just getting by off of sure knowing how to do multiple choice. And so I wasn't prepared for the workforce either, And so I sure didn't want to like try to get ready to do something where I was going to make 40, 50 grand instead of, 300 to a couple mil out of, and so it was just like, no way, please, come on. I know I can make it. I don't even care if I can't go first round anymore. I know I can get drafted 5th, 6th, get professional, get the money, get the medical procedure, fix the back, become the next best athlete of all time. Like, that was my plan. And so I just begged them. They're like, no. Finally, they're like, you know what? Fine. Sure. You got to sign a liability waiver. So I signed a liability. The truth is, here's what happened. Okay. Hopefully I don't get nobody in trouble. The truth is they were like, you know what? Sure. They put me in inside drill. You know what inside drill is? One of the hardest drills in football. It's literally, all you do is run up the middle, and it's literally offensive lineman, defensive lineman, the running back, and all. The receivers are not involved because you just run through the middle, and it's just basically
you're just getting slammed.
You're just getting slammed the whole time.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Jake Olsen,
right,
and Eric Fisher, who is the people who I would be going against. So we're talking about, I'm not even more than a month or two after back surgery, trying to beg for an opportunity to come back to rehab to play. And they're like, sure, if you think you can play, get in today. Now, what they expected was that Eric Fisher or Jake Olsen was going to put me on my ass, and then I was going to be done.
Yeah.
But I had something to prove.
And you had nothing to lose.
I had nothing to lose.
You were going to leave it all.
I was going to leave it all on the field. So I just knuckled it up. I numbed it. I had took some painkillers, and I just, boom, and I survived. I didn't like manhandle anybody. And they were like, dude,
Unexpected.
This dude, 2 months after surgery, and this dude's like, he's got something to prove. And they're like, all right, sign a liability waiver so that we're not liable for your injury or death should it happen on the field.
Yeah.
And then I came back and played, and I started for 2 years playing on this injury. And it was one of the worst decisions I ever made because I put my body through absolute torment during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what advice would you give to somebody who's in that situation today?
Number one, speak up about the emotions you feel. Most high performers, the reason why they can't slow down is because they're running from a pain that they don't want to feel. The moment they stop drinking at the social after parties, the moment that they stop filling the calendar with another meeting and another meeting, they slow down enough to be with them and their thoughts, and they don't like how they feel about them.
Yeah.
Rather than run from how you feel about you, just be honest with how you feel about you, because you cannot conquer what you're unwilling to confront. And so that was one of my biggest things. I had all this emotion that I was feeling. I didn't know who I was outside of sports. I knew my career was coming to an end. I pissed away my education. I didn't know who I was. I lost my identity.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to vocalize that or know how to vocalize that because I was so used to training myself to stay so busy getting extra reps in, or to stay so suppressed emotionally, and to the point to where I believed I wasn't even an emotional person, even though I was deeply.
Yeah, and before, like, we're living in a weird space today, right? Because, like, you have a lot of longevity junkies. Are you a longevity junkie? Like a biohacking longevity?
Oh, totally. I'm a nerd, but yeah.
Right. So, like, now, like, we're living in the space where I think because of the Peter Attias, because of the Hubermans, like, it's cool to go get a ton of labs, and it's cool to like do all the things. Yeah. But it hasn't always been that way, right? No. Because like when you take a look at, like, my dad, like, was basically to the day he died was I don't need to see a doctor. Right? I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna do Tai Chi. Like it's gonna be fine. And going to a doctor is like a smaller step than even saying publicly, like, I'm working with a therapist or I'm working with a psychologist or I'm taking an antidepressant or I'm taking a mood stabilizer. So like as you were removed from the active roster right before senior year, like what type of impact did that have on your mental health? And like, talk to me a little bit about like what was going on around you.
I felt completely abandoned. I went from, being on national television, playing on ESPN, winning a MAC championship, to everyone on campus want to talk to us, getting discounts at every restaurant.
Yeah.
To feeling like nobody even knew I existed.
Invisible.
I mean, it still is weird to think about that time period. Because I can't tell you, I remember looking at my cell phone because I was used to it buzzing. Zzz, 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 zzz. I remember looking at my cell phone and I was just watching it for like an hour, crying because it wouldn't buzz. My coaches who were always like, Stinson, how you doing? How's your mom? Man, how's your fam, bro? What's going on, man? How you? How's classes? How's school? Nothing.
Did the relationship feel almost like transactional?
Very.
Yeah.
It caught, I mean, even my teammates was like I didn't exist. Now when they would see me, they always holler at me, you know, but it was like when you ain't with them, out of sight, out of mind. And you know, and so, you know, it validated that insecurity that without sports, people don't actually like me. They only like me for what they can get from me. And so, therefore, why do I matter? I don't. I'm just another athlete, and I'm not even able to do that anymore. And so I felt completely abandoned by my teammates. I felt completely, disenfranchised by, the athletic administration team. And I felt alone, and I felt like nobody actually cared about Darryll. People only cared about the athlete. And so that was like, man, I don't want to be here. I don't want to deal with this pain. That is what led to a lot of the depression and the suicide attempts later in life.
Like the pills, the suicide attempts, the reckless driving, like as you turn the corner, how did you take what you learned about yourself, which is like, as I think through and process it, it's like you learn so deeply how you get energy, right? Like what gives you energy. And how did you turn that into from a place of emptiness to a place of fulfillment, to be able to figure out a life path? Because, I mean, you had grown up with a father figure and a path to follow and like very clear milestones that I'm sure you played in your head like over and over and over again over decades. And to be faced with involuntarily a blank slate for what to do next. Like, how did you start thinking through?
This is good, man. So this is good because one of my mentors said, the worst thing in life is not to be a failure. The worst thing in life is to be successful at something you were never meant to be successful at.
Oh, Andre Agassi.
Is that who that's from?
No, Andre Agassi, obviously was the crazy good tennis player, grew up hating tennis. Like hates tennis.
Good point. But yet probably one of the best in the world at it.
Yeah. So
that was me in sports. It was like you had this clear path, had this thing, but that was not what I was supposed to be doing. If you listen to the real seeds of the story, I only started doing sports to mask my insecurity. Right. It wasn't because I just loved playing football. Right. In fact, I actually don't enjoy playing football at all. All right. I enjoy competing now.
Yeah.
So, I'll play anything that's competitive, but like football as a sport is very boring to me. I love basketball. So anyways, I say that because to answer your question is like, my true paradigm is that I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I knew it had something to do with leadership. I knew it had something to do with communication because of these innate skills that I had. I was an amazing writer. I was very good at leadership somehow. Like people just wanted to follow me and be like me. Probably my height. I don't know what it was, but the whole time I'm traveling this career path as an athlete, I'm ignoring my own internal nudges and my own desires to do something else with my talent.
Oh, fascinating.
And so at the moment where it got stripped away, I crashed and burned. I ended up in a psychiatric unit, and I start this like personal development and growth journey. I'm seeing counselors. I'm doing discovery assessments, career assessments, personality assessments, trying to find like, what am I supposed to do with my life? I'm already knowing on the inside, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to nurture this communication skill and ability, and I'm supposed to be a leader of something. And so I literally retook undergraduate courses in public speaking because I knew I had to nurture that innate ability that I had.
Yeah.
And so here I am as a graduate student in an undergraduate class taking public speaking because I'm nurturing that potential. And I think that's true for a lot of people. I think most people have a inner whisper about some creative ideas that they want to do in their life.
Yeah.
And because they don't know how it's going to work out, how to build it, because it may not be what mom or dad's career path was, they ignore it and they do something that they feel is smarter, wiser, better use of their time, a safer career path long term, and they suppress that voice and they rob themselves of missing the greatest gift of them to the world.
Yeah, this resonates deeply because, for Asians, like there are approved career paths.
Totally.
Doctor,
Yep.
lawyer,
Yep.
accountant,
Oh, yeah.
engineer. These are all approved pathways.
100.
But, anything creative.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that? You're going to be a what? Podcaster?
By the way, congratulations, Golden Globe, first podcaster award, right? Great hang with
There you go.
Polar. Never thought we'd see a Golden Globe for the category.
Just the beginning.
I'm not sure if that still puts it on the acceptable career list, but the point being though is that like somebody might be thinking right now that there's something that they really enjoy doing as a hobby, and that there are other people who make money doing what they see as a hobby. And then they have their 9-to-5 life that's in whether it's a more socially acceptable, family acceptable, partner acceptable, culture acceptable, or it could even be like this thing that you're telling yourself in your head.
Sure.
Right? It could be a constraint like that you've decided in your head it's better for my image. It's better for my relationships. My friends will think more highly of me.
Yep.
My LinkedIn connections that I haven't talked to in 20 years might think differently of me at the 20-year reunion if I don't fit this mold.
Exactly.
So once you break free from that, like when you gave yourself permission to chase that, how did things change?
So I wouldn't say I broke free as much as I would say I walked to freedom. And I say that because sometimes I think people are looking for a breakthrough when they really just need to take a walk.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like breakthroughs sometimes are sudden. They're like moments. They're like, I drew a line in the sand. I was like, I ran from it and never again. And have I had moments like that in my life? Totally.
Yeah.
I said that psychiatric unit was one of those moments. And my actual process was one of gradual, like
you can put your toe in the water.
One foot forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. And it just trying and failing and getting rejected and feeling like I'm free, I'm confident, I'm going for it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe I did make the wrong decision. Maybe I should go back to the facade. Maybe I should not be authentic. Oh man, that didn't work out well. And just continuing to go forward, backwards, forward, backwards, forward, backwards until you just go forward long enough that you realize I'm so far away from where I used to be. I'm so far away from that old like way of thinking or paradigm, or I can't go back. Like if you start to taste a little bit of what you love to do, you'll start to hate what you are tolerating more, right? So you just got to give yourself permission to let your gifts be expressed, right? Before you have to go make a thing, like give yourself more space to play the piano. Give yourself more space to have the idea. Give yourself 20 minutes a week to live without the constraint that you've put inside your mind and your paradigm. And you start to taste and see outside of the matrix, and you're like, okay, this is better in here. Because here's the thing. I don't think anything's wrong with people working career paths. We obviously need people to do that. And you should. But when you're miserable and you're disengaged and you're checking social media and you're dreaming about other things while you're at work, to me, then that's no way to live.
Yeah.
And I saw that when I worked in higher education. I would see people, they don't want to go to work on Monday. They call Wednesday hump day. Then Friday, they're just waiting for the weekend. I'm like, oh my God, you don't even want to be at work.
Yeah.
I came out of high performance athletics into the work field. So here I come thinking that we come into work. And I get here and the work started at 9 and you're like warming up your fingers and coffee at 9:30. And I'm like, what? I'm over here like trying to answer my emails and be done by 9:30. You see what I'm saying? Like I had that mentality as an elite athlete. And I was like, oh my God, people don't want to work because they don't want to win because they're not passionate about it. Mm-hmm. Right? And for me, that was no way to freaking live. So to me, if you're living like that, remember that working is like a third of your lifespan.
Yeah.
And we don't want to spend a third of our life
doing something you don't enjoy.
Doing something we don't enjoy.
That you don't get energy out of. Or like in some instances too, like you might be doing something that you're morally opposed to. Mm-hmm. Right? Oof. Do you want to spend a third of your life doing something that pays the bills that you might be morally opposed to, that might not align with your personal values?
I know.
I use the word breakthrough. You use the word walk. And, what's really fascinating about that is it mirrors the perspective. And what I mean by that is like if somebody takes a look at the highlights of your career, one of the first things that show up when you do the Google search or one of the first things that shows up in your ChatGPT results is your TED Talk, your TEDx talk. And, you did your first TEDx talk that was about overcoming rejection. Yeah. But the reason why like that from the outside looks like a breakthrough is because it's a moment of success without visibility into the years of work.
I know.
Prior to that.
I totally know.
And, as you describe it as a walk, it was a really immediate light bulb in my head of saying that's not fair because it's not giving credit to the years of work that led up to the gained experiences that allowed you to be able to have that career highlight moment.
I know.
And so, for you, like going through that journey, achieving the thing, which is to serve others. When, like, how did you think about like the impact that you had, going from moments on a TV station, the ESPN highlights, to holy cow, it's millions of views of people hearing your message.
Yeah. I don't think I ever thought about the impact that it had until probably like a year ago. Because I think I was just living in this paradigm of like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
More people still need help. Got to impact more people. Yeah. More people still need, who cares? I don't care how many views I have. I don't care how many people I help. There's still more people that need help.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's hard for my head to go there because when I go millions of views, like I think the Rose Bowl only has like 90,000 seats.
I know. There's
90,000 seats in the Rose Bowl.
That's wild.
Right? And so when you think about the number of Rose Bowls of people that have been able to just get that little piece that they were looking for.
I know. And it's wild because there's 70,000 at least comments that are like, not just like, thanks. It's like, oh my God, I went and changed my relationship with my parent, my son, and all this stuff. I had somebody come to Florida that lived in Russia to see me speak for 15 minutes because talking about mental health was taboo in Russia. So we're talking about crazy impact. And I still was just like, not enough, until one of my clients lost her husband on around the Christmas time. He was a man that lived a life of great impact. And I went to his funeral. And it was like, you would have felt it was a funeral for a famous person. Shout out to Lawrence. And I related so much to him. I saw he had youth. He had churches he served. He had mentors. He had business endeavors. He had nonprofits. And I felt like I was watching my own funeral. And everything that people would come to the microphone and say about him, I was like, oh man, I have a story almost exactly the same as that.
Yeah.
And that's when I can feel it right now. That's when it's sad. Like, man, you made a huge impact.
Yeah.
If I died today, I could die saying I gave it everything I had.
Yeah.
So it never really hit me that it was such a breakthrough moment that these results were happening, because to me, that TEDx stage was nothing compared to trying to speak to 4 people in an addiction recovery program when none of them want to listen to me, but somebody's got to if their life's ever going to change. Like that TEDx stage was nothing compared to that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I always was more proud of the times where I did harder things like I just described, or the time where I spoke in front of freaking Eric Thomas and Jeremy and CJ and Jessica Lundy and Christopher Crump, or 13 bureaus and, and like 8 of the top speakers when they sitting there with a pencil because it's a speaking, a showcase, and they want to dissect every single word. To me, those were the hardest stages. TEDx was like easy, everybody was reading scripts and yeah.
When you have a system for self-care, we're going to wrap the episode on this. You have a system for self-care.
Yep.
Like for somebody today where they're saying, you're talking about me.
Yep.
Like I'm in that grind.
Yep.
I've been climbing the corporate ladder.
Yes.
I've been working for somebody else. I've set out on a path because I thought it was the right path, or I was told that this was the path for my life, and I'm feeling like it wasn't. What advice would you give to that person as a tactical thing, a small step, the first step of that walk that they can take?
Go watch The Matrix and ask yourself, if you're Neo, what are you gonna do?
Red pill, blue pill.
I think everybody watched The Matrix because that's how it feels when you're waking up. You're like, yeah, you're right. I promise you, that's exactly what I tell people to do. Go watch The Matrix, because what happens if you can see yourself outside of your own story, you take all of your personal resistance away. So I'm trying to get them out of the way of what's unfolding and be like, just take the pill and wake up. Okay. After that, I will say there is a healthy level of being very curious about what's in you. So purpose discovery is a real thing. So, in my first book, Who Am I After Sports, I had studied every major world religion. I had invested lots of money into personal development, leadership, spiritual retreats, trying to find what is my thing. I hated generic purpose statements. I hated when people said, my purpose is to help other people find their purpose. I was like, oh my God,
what does that mean?
That. And so I was like, but what's your thing? So ask yourself, so get that, you can grab that book. The questions are in there. I nailed it down to the top 20 questions. But there's lots of material. Get clear, get a statement. Develop a mission statement, write a vision, start with it, articulating and writing it down, because at least it's real to you on paper, even if it isn't real in your life yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I would tell people to start there and then nurture it, meaning put it on your calendar, intentional time where you're going to go play the piano, think about the business, ideate, creative play, act as if, sing the song, record the podcast episode, like start creating space for it so that your life can start to taste and see that this other path is good and fruitful and safe, and that it's not out of your mind, and you're not being irresponsible, you're not crazy, and you belong out here. And so just start there, because that's about all somebody can probably handle in terms of an action step. And what will happen is if you stay consistent for 30 to 60 days, you'll start to thaw out. And now your new life that you've been building is going to start to make your old life taste a little bit more bitter. And then maybe you got to reach back out to the podcast. I don't know.
Yeah. Darryll, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Founders Club. For somebody who wants to follow you, learn more about you, where's the best place to go?
At Stinson Speaks, man. I'm sure it's on the screen. If not, it's in the show notes. I'm happy to serve. Get your message out there to the world. Man, I was so insecure, bro, of my ability to speak that I almost ended my life because I didn't want to be seen. And so I know what it's like to be scared. I know what it's like to hear this stuff and be like, oh, that's just motivational hype. Oh my God, they're just saying that. There's another podcast, another positive, optimistic. And it's like, no, it's not just positivity. It's not just optimism. I believe it's truth. And I believe that everyone listening to this, they matter. And that we need them to leave their unique fingerprint on the world, because that is how our society flourishes. So
I love that.
That's it.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks
so much again.
Appreciate it.